Long before the rise of Persia and long before Western theology shaped the way we read ancient texts, there was Elam, a people born from the bloodline of Shem, the firstborn son of Noah. Hidden in plain sight within the Scriptures and confirmed by ancient writings outside the canon, the Elamites played a powerful role in the history of Yahuwah's dealings with the nations. Their name is nearly forgotten, but their actions and fate are remembered by the Most High. After the flood, Noah's sons repopulated the earth. Among them was Shem, a name meaning name or renown, through whom the lineage of Yahuwah's covenant would flow. Genesis 10:22 tells us, "The children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram." Elam, the firstborn of Shem, became the father of a people who settled east of Mesopotamia in a land later called Elam, bordered by the Zagros Mountains and the Persian Gulf. The capital was known as Shushan, or Susa, a city mentioned in both scripture and ancient records like the Behistun inscriptions. Their appearance in scripture is not incidental. They were a prominent nation, present during critical moments in Hebrew history. The Elamites were not a small tribe. They established a kingdom with its own language, script, and religion, independent of Sumer and Akkad, but deeply involved in early power struggles. According to recovered tablets and annals, the Elamite kings warred against Mesopotamian rulers. These conflicts are echoed in Genesis 14:1, where Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, is part of a confederation that invades the land of Canaan and captures Lot, Abram's nephew.
And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Persia, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. All these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer, and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzims in Ham, and the Emims in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their Mount Seir, unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they returned, and came to En-Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites, that dwelt in Hazazon Tamar. And there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same as Zoar. And they joined battle with them in the vale of Siddim, with Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings with 5. And the vale of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there. And they that remained fled to the mountain. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their victuals, and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. Genesis chapter 14, verses 1 through 12.
This early act of aggression would not be forgotten. Elam was among the first nations to enslave, invade, and oppress other peoples after the flood. It was a sign of what was to come. Despite being of Shem's seed, the Elamites drifted far from the ways of Yahuwah. Their writings and artifacts show devotion to false deities, necromancy, and priesthoods not appointed by the Most High Yahuwah. They worshipped gods like Kiririsha, Napir, and Inshushanak, spiritual impostors who seduced the Elamites into rebellion. They became known for sorcery, temple prostitution, and human sacrifice. Non-canonical texts, such as the Book of Jubilees, affirm that many of Shem's children, especially those in the east, were drawn away into the worship of the Watchers and their offspring. Noah prayed to Yahuwah that his sons be delivered from the spirits who taught sorcery, astrology, and bloodshed. Yahuwah bound some of them but allowed a portion to remain to test the sons of men.
And in the third week of this Jubilee, the unclean demons began to lead astray the children of the sons of Noah, and to mock to err and destroy them. And the sons of Noah came to Noah their father, and they told him concerning the demons which were leading astray, and blinding and slaying his sons' sons. And he prayed before the Lord his God and said, God of the spirits of all flesh, who hast shown mercy unto me, and hast saved me and my sons from the waters of the flood, and hast not caused me to perish as thou didst the sons of perdition. For thy grace has been great towards me, and great has been thy mercy to my soul. Let thy grace be lift up upon my sons, and let not wicked spirits rule over them, lest they should destroy them from the earth. But do thou bless me and my sons, that we may increase and multiply and replenish the earth. And thou knowest how thy watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my day. And as for these spirits which are living, imprison them and hold them fast in the place of condemnation, and let them not bring destruction on the sons of thy servant, my God. For these are malignant, and were created in order to destroy. And let them not rule over the spirits of the living, for thou alone canst exercise dominion over them, and let them not have power over the sons of the righteous from henceforth and forevermore. And the Lord our God bade us to bind all. And the chief of the spirits, Mastema, came and said, Lord Creator, let some of them remain before me, and let them hearken to my voice, and do all that I shall say unto them. For if some of them are not left to me, I shall not be able to execute the power of my will on the sons of men, for these are for corruption, and leading astray before my judgment. For great is the wickedness of the sons of men. And he said, Let the 10th part of them remain before him, and let 9 parts descend into the place of condemnation. And one of us, he commanded, that we should teach Noah all their medicines, for he knew that they would not walk in uprightness, nor strive in righteousness. And we did according to all his words. All the malignant evil ones we bound in the place of condemnation, and a 10th part of them we left that they might be subject before Satan on the earth. And we explained to Noah all the medicines of their diseases, together with their seductions, how he might heal them with herbs of the earth. And Noah wrote down all things in a book, as we instructed him concerning every kind of medicine. Thus, the evil spirits were precluded from hurting the sons of Noah. And he gave all that he had written to Shem, his eldest son, for he loved him exceedingly above all his sons. And Noah slept with his fathers, and was buried on Mount Lubar in the land of Ararat. The Book of Jubilees, chapter 10.
Elam became one of the regions where these rebellious spirits continued to influence rulers and prophets, spreading defilement among the nations. For these transgressions, Yahuwah declared judgment against Elam, a rare and specific word directed to this nation alone.
Thus saith Yahuwah, Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. I will scatter them toward the 4 winds from the 4 quarters of heaven. I will set my throne in Elam, and will destroy from thence the king and the princes. See Jeremiah chapter 49, verses 34 through 38.
This was no ordinary prophecy. Yahuwah declared that Elam's strength would be broken, their people scattered, and their leadership erased. This was fulfilled over time as Elam was conquered by Assyria, then Babylon, and was eventually absorbed into the rising Medo-Persian Empire. The Elamite kingdom reached its height around 2000 BCE. Elam became a spiritually corrupt region, participating in idolatry, human sacrifice, and mystic rites, actions that further cemented their fate as reasons as to why, over time, Yahuwah allowed Elam to be conquered and absorbed by larger empires. First came the Assyrians, then the Babylonians, and eventually the rise of a new power from within Elam's own soil, the Persians. The Persians were not an entirely separate people, but an evolving mix of Median, Elamite, and Aryan tribes who merged linguistically and politically. These Aryan tribes, migrating from the north and northeast, settled in what was once Elamite territory and called it Parsa.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17.
The Medes, descendants of Madai, son of Japheth, as referenced in Genesis chapter 10, verse 2, joined with the Persians to overthrow Babylon. This fusion created what we now call the Medo-Persian Empire, with kings like Cyrus the Great, who is actually praised in Scripture for allowing the Hebrews to return to Jerusalem.
Thus saith Yahuwah to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him. And I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two-leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut. Isaiah chapter 45, verse 1.
But the Persian Empire was still built on the land and legacy of Elam. Though Persia became dominant, it inherited Elam's spiritual history, land, and unresolved judgment. After Cyrus the Great's reign had come to an end, and as the centuries passed, Persia went through several transformations. Alexander the Great conquered Persia in the 4th century BCE. The Parthians and Sassanids, also from that region, ruled afterward. With the rise of Islam in the 7th century CE, the land of Persia became Islamic in law and culture. And in the 20th century, after centuries of being known as Persia, the land officially changed its name to Iran in 1935. Iran derives from Aryan, a nod to its Indo-European linguistic influence, though the deeper spiritual and prophetic identity remains hidden. But Yahuwah never called the land by that name. In his eyes, it was and still is Elam. So, is Elam truly gone? Not entirely. The land of Elam still exists today, in what we now call southwestern Iran, and though the Elamite language and empire have vanished, Yahuwah's words have not. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11, lists Elam among the regions from which the scattered people of Yahuwah will be recovered in the last days.
And it shall come to pass in that day, that Yahuwah shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11.
Why mention Elam alongside Assyria and Egypt? Because Elam, just like Assyria and Egypt, enslaved Yahuwah's people via what is called in modern history as the Islamic slave trade during the 7th century to the 20th century. A remnant of the people, whether through blood, intermingling, or spiritual inheritance, still exists there today, and Yahuwah has not forgotten them.
Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. I will scatter them, and I will set my throne in Elam. See Jeremiah chapter 49, verses 34 through 38.
This prophecy foretold that Elam's military strength would collapse, its people scattered, and that Yahuwah himself would establish dominion over their territory, not only through human conquest, but also through divine authority. This has been partially fulfilled through successive defeats by the Assyrians, Babylonians, Greeks, Arabs, and Mongols. Elam's name vanished from public memory, but prophecy is not finished.
But it shall come to pass in the latter days that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith Yahuwah. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 39.
This promise indicates that a remnant of the Elamite people, who are hidden among the current population of Iran and the surrounding regions, will be regathered. Jeremiah chapter 50, verses 1 through 10 further supports these ideas.
The word that Yahuwah spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. In those days, and in that time, saith Yahuwah, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek Yahuwah their God. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, Come, and let us join ourselves to Yahuwah in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. My people hath been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, We offend not, because they have sinned against Yahuwah, the habitation of justice, even Yahushua, the hope of their fathers. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flocks. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Yahuwah. Jeremiah chapter 50 verses 1 through 10.
Elam may have mixed into Persia. Persia may have rebranded into Iran, but Yahuwah's labels do not change with man's politics. Today, Iran stands as a modern nation with deep religious, political, and nuclear ambitions. It is often at odds with the state of Israel and has become central to many end-time geopolitical conflicts. Some say this is just politics, but to those who understand Scripture and prophecy, it is more. Iran carries the judged legacy of Elam, the royal authority of ancient Persia, and the burden of rebellion once carried by Shem's firstborn son. However, Yahuwah is just and merciful. His word declares not only judgment, but restoration for those who return to the covenant. From the days of Elam to the modern halls of Tehran, Yahuwah's hand has shaped this land. Nations forget their past, but Yahuwah does not. He remembers the bloodline of Shem. He remembers Elam, and he is calling his people, even from Iran, back to himself.
If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Revelation chapter 3, verse 22.